Hey guys, so today's lesson or the following few lessons will be mostly seventh grade stuff. I will teach it, my way. It's a way that I believe will help you as soon as we get to the eighth grade stuff. It's like a step more than what you did in seventh grade. All right, let's go ahead and begin. So we are doing representing proportional relationships. So basically, if you remember from your seventh grade teacher, it is finding the constant from a graph, from a table, and then writing the equation. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. Now, for eighth grade, of course, you are allowed to use calculator. So I will be teaching you or starting to teach you calculator tricks. So again, if you don't have this calculator, something similar to this, TI-84, please make sure that you download so you are able to practice the calculator skills. All right, let's go ahead and begin. So if you remember, proportional relationship is a relationship between two quantities that change by the same amount each time. So this is why it's called a constant, because it is changing, it is the same amount each time. So if I talk about a gallon costs $3, 2 gallons cost $6. So what was my constant? It changed by 3. So it just keeps going 3 and 3 and 3 and 3. So that will be my constant. So 3 gallons cost $9. So again, another $3. So that is my constant. Another example here is I have 60 miles per hour. So 60 miles in 1 hour, 120 miles in 2 hours, 180 miles in 3 hours. So what will be my constant? What was it changing by? It was changing by 60 every hour. So 60 will be my constant. All right. Just to begin, if you remember from seventh grade, the equation, an equation is a mathematical statement with an equal sign showing two things that are equal. So the example here is y equals 3x. So we talked about the gallons one. If we go back to this slide right here, we know that our constant was $3 because it was growing by 3 each time. So all you have to do is y equals 3x. So that will be my constant. All right, so let's go ahead and begin by doing some word problems. Now, right now, the word problems will be easy. Later on, when we keep going, there will be two numbers, and you have to distinguish between the constant and y-intercept or the b. Again, that's something that you'll learn later on. For the word problem right now, it is very easy. Of course, you only see one number. So here it says Marco earns $36.50 per hour as an accountant. Show that the relationship between the amount he earns and the number of hours he works is a proportional relationship. Then write the equation. So back in seventh grade, you saw y equals kx. All right, so in eighth grade, we see y equals mx plus b. Now we take this out right now because this is what you're going to learn later on. K and m are actually the same thing. So y equals kx, y equals mx. They're actually the same thing. So here, one thing that I want you to pay attention is this per. When you look at the word per, you'll get keywords that tells you what is your constant. So here we have $36.50. Another word that I want you to learn for constant, it is slope. This is another word that you'll learn. In seventh grade, you learned it as constant, you learned it as unit rate, and you learned it as rate of change. So this is what you should have learned in seventh grade: unit rate, rate of change, and constant. In eighth grade, we are adding the word slope. Now, before you start freaking out, it is the same thing. So here, our constant or our slope will be 36.50. So just to write the equation, y equals mx. My constant right here was 36, so y equals 36.50x. All right, so again, word problem should be easy right now. That is your constant. Again, constant means something that just keeps on repeating. So if Marco works another hour, it's another 36.50. If he works another hour, it's another 36.50, and so on, so on. So that's why it's a constant. All right, so now hopefully you're able to pause your video and you can go ahead and try this one on your own. All right, so it says Nickel earns $12.50 per hour as a math tutor. Show that the relationship between the amount he earns and the number of hours he tutors is a proportional relationship. Then write the equation for the relationship. So again, we're looking for our keyword. It says per hour, so per is near this number. So that means that is my constant or my slope. So to write the equation again, y equals mx, and then my m was $12.50. Now you're asking, how does this work? Well, equals means, well, x will be my hour, right? So if I have, well, I want to know how much you work for 4 hours. So all you have to do is take this equation, $12.50 times 4. And then you can figure out how much he got paid for he got paid for 4 hours. So $50. So this is how we use the equation. All right. So let's go ahead and review the graph. Now the graph, I'm not sure how your 7th grade teacher taught you. Now the way that I'm teaching you is something that will help you along the way for all your 8th grade time. Okay, so in order for you to find your constant or your rate of change or your unit rate or your slope from a graph, this is the way that I want you to do it. So again, right now, it might be easy to figure out the constant, but later on, it's not going to be easy. So if you follow the steps I'm giving you, it is the steps that will help you find it all the time. All right. Now, before I start on the graph, I do want to tell you why this is proportional. Now, it is proportional because it does start at 0 right here. So what that means is, so here they're talking about the relationship between the number of days a car is rented and the total cost for the rental. Now, what does that mean? If I rent it for 0 days, then how much do I have to pay? $0. So this is why this graph is proportional. The title of the lesson is called Proportional Relationships. So hopefully you understand proportional relationships. Now, if he works 0 hours, then he gets paid $0. All right, so now let's go ahead and review the graph. Like I said, hopefully you follow these steps that I'm giving you. Now, the way that I want you to find your constant on the graph is by selecting 2 perfect points. What does that mean? Perfect points means that it is at a corner of a square. So if you look at right here, this one is at a corner of a square. Now, I want you to create a table. If you know your ABCs, X goes first. So once you create a table, I want you to get the X of that point and get the Y of the point. Now, do you guys remember what is the X of a graph? The X will be this right here. This is your X. And then the one going up and down, the vertical one, is your Y. Now, the way that I remember this, even when I was in middle school, is that Y has a line going down. You see that? Has a line going down. So this is my Y. All right, so I'm selecting again 2 perfect points. So this is my first point. Now, what is the X of the point? So here's my X. So what is the X of that point? My X is 12. Now, what is my Y of that point? So let me go to my Y. My Y is 400. All right. Now you're going to select another point. Let's go ahead and select this one. So this is a perfect point. It's at a corner of my square. The x for this point is 9, and the y for this point is 300. All right, so what I want you to do next is find the difference. How much did it change? Now from 12 to 9, it changed how much? Minus 3. From 400 to 300, it changed minus 100. And then I want you to divide. The way that you divide is how much did my y change divided by how much did my x change. Now please don't forget negatives. All right, now I did select this one first because that is after, but if I would have selected this first, it's actually going up, right? So it would have been a positive. But since I selected this one first and this one next, it still should give me the same answer. All right, so how much did my y change? Well, here's my y. My y changed by 100. So it went down 100. How much did my x change? My x changed by minus 3. So it went down 3. And then what you do is you divide. So I'm going to divide negative 100 divided by negative 3. And we got 33 and 0.3 repeating. So I'm going to write 33.3 repeating. Now, if you were to write the equation, y equals mx or y equals kx, what was your constant that we found out? 33.3 repeating. However, you do have to keep in mind that on a test, you won't have a 33.33333. No. So what you have to do is you have to convert this into a fraction. Now, the way to convert the 0.3 repeating is that you type in 0.3, and it's a lot of 3's. Then math, enter, enter. And they gave me 1/3. So what that means is that this 0.3 repeating is 1/3. So we can write it as 33 and 1/3 x. All right, so now I want you to pay attention. I'm going to show you how to figure this out on the calculator. Now the calculator, I do want you to double check on the calculator. All right, so the way that we do this, so I am going to erase everything so we don't get confused. Now we will follow the same steps. So we will select 2 points on the graph. We will select 2 points on the graph. All right. So I selected this one, which is 12 and 400, and I selected this one, which is 9 and 300. Now you are welcome to write down the steps, but you can also download the file that I have, write down the steps from the file. It is on this days folder. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna input the table that we organized right here by our 2 points. We're gonna go to Stat, Edit, we enter. Now I know I've been doing stuff on here, so that's why you see numbers here. L1 will always be your x's. L2 will be your y's. So on L1, I will type in 12, enter, 9, enter. Now what is with 12? What is the y of my 12? 400. Enter. What is the y of 9? It is 300. So you're just typing it in exactly how you wrote it down here. You organize your information. Then you're going to go to Stat again. Now I do understand that it might be like, what the heck's going on? There's too many steps. Well, it's okay. We're going to practice, and I want you to practice so you can get better at your calculator skills, so you can always double check your work. So again, we were here. We typed in the numbers. We click Stat again. Now we're going to go to Calculate because we want to calculate the constant. Then you're going to go to number 4. Now, number 4, if you see here, you have ax plus b. Well, that looks like your mx, right? Or your kx. Enter. Go all the way down. Enter. Well, do you see that number? Here is my constant right there. 33.33 repeating. Now, why does it say b equals 0? Because again, it starts at 0. We're going to be learning more about that later. Like I said, when we write the equation, it's usually y equals mx plus b. However, right now, we only have 0 as b, so we don't need it right now. All right, so how would I write my equation again? Y equals 33 and 1/3 x. So again, I want you to practice your calculator skills. This is how you can find your constant on your calculator. All right, so now is your turn. So please pause the video so you can try this on your own. The only way that you're going to learn is by practicing. Please, guys, please practice. So pause the video. All right, so again, the first step. So the graph shows the relationship between the number of cups of flour and the number of cookies made. Write an equation for the proportional relationship. So again, we are finding what is the constant, what is the slope. Your question should tell you, I know that these are more basic questions, but the question will always tell you what is the constant of the graph, what is the slope of the graph below. You will see what they're looking for, right? So again, this is stuff that you should have learned in 7th grade, how to find the constant from a graph, from a table. Now, okay, so again, I will select 2 points. Let me select this one, and let me select this one. Now, guys, yes, you can always select 0, 0. If you have 0, 0 as an option, you can always select that one. So actually, let's go ahead and select that one. So I set up my table. This right here, 0, 0. Now this one right here, or maybe we can go this one right here because it is simpler to see. Here you have to be careful with what the increments are going by. It is going by 3s, so please be careful with that. Now here, what is the x of this point? It is 6. What is the y of the point? 96. Again, if you remember, this one is x, this one is y. So the 6 of that one is, the x of this point is 96. And the y for this point is 96. So x is 6 and y is 96. And then we're going to figure out how much did my y change and how much did my x change. And we are going to divide y divided by x. So the change in y divided by the change in x. So how much did my y change? Well, it went up 96. 96. And how much did my x change? Well, my x change plus 6. So they're both positives. So my y changed by 96 and my x changed by 6. So we're going to divide 96 divided by 6. So my constant or my slope is 16. So I'm going to write it here, equals 16. Again, how do I write my equation? Y equals 16x. And you can always double check on the calculator. So let's go ahead and check. So we can do that. Let me go ahead and erase everything so you don't get confused. And let me just leave the 2 points. All right, so now double checking on the calculator. We're going to go to Stat. On Edit, you're going to press Enter. If you have something on there, you can definitely press the Delete button. Delete. Again, L1 is your X. So L1 is your X and L2 is your Y. Again, remember the alphabet. X always goes first. So L1 here, I have 0. I have 6. And for my Y's, 0 goes with 0. And 96 goes with 6. We're going to press Stat. And we want to calculate because we want to figure out, well, how much is this graph increasing by? We're going to calculate. And then we're going to go to number 4, enter, and then we're going to calculate again, enter. 16. Isn't that what I got? That is correct. So again, think about the 0 as, well, if I have 0 cups of flour, how many cookies can I make? Well, 0. All right. But if you keep increasing is telling me that for every cup of flour, I can make 16 cookies. So that is for 1. For every cup of flour, I can make 16 cookies. So this is why we have y equals 16x. So it is increasing. My constant is 16 each time. It's going up by 16 each time. All right, so now the table. I do believe the table is the easiest one, guys. It is the easiest one. So with the table, again, x always goes first. You see here, it is not labeled. X always goes first. All right, so you always want to label a table if it's not labeled. So 5 to get to 8 is plus 3. And then 140 to get to 224. Oh no, miss, I don't know. Well, again, you do have a calculator, so please use it to your advantage. So we have 224 minus 140. So the difference there is 84. So that means it increased by 84. You guys remember how to find a constant by this time? Hopefully you do. You divide the change in y divided by the change in x. Well, how much did my y change? Remember, this is your y. This is your y. So how much did my y change? 84. How much did my x change? 3. Now we divide 84 divided by 3. So my constant is 28. So we write the equation, y equals 28x. Again, what does that mean? Well, they're talking about acres and they're talking about bushels of wheat. So for every acre, you can do 28 bushels of wheat. All right, and again, you can double check on the calculator. And you already have a table here, so you don't have to create anything like the graph. The graph is a step more, is finding the 2 points, and then you organize your tables on the, you organize your points on the table. But here you already have your table, so you can just put them on the calculator. So again, x goes first, and then it's y. So stat, edit. Let me delete whatever's on here. My x, and you can only use 2 points, guys. You don't have to use the whole thing. So here is 1 point, x and y, right? And we have x and y. So please do not get confused. You don't put 5 and 140 just because it's going down like that. No. Remember that this is your x. This is your y. So what they did here is that they flipped the table. So you have to be careful. This is your L1. This is your L2. All right. So let me clear this out again. So x, we have 5 and 8. And then the y for 5 is 140. And then the y for 8 is 224. And then I click on stat. I want to calculate. Go down to number 4. Enter. Go all the way down to calculate. And there we go. Did we get our answer correct? Yes, we did. We got 28. All right, so my answer is correct. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to try this on your own. Please, guys, again, pause and try this on your own. All right, so the table and graph showed values representing a proportional relationship. Write an algebraic equation for the proportional relationship. So again, we're finding the constant. So 1 to get to 2 plus 1, 225 to get to 250 plus 225. All right, don't forget to label your x and your y on the table if they're not labeled. X always goes first, and then it's y. So again, you'll see tables that go like this, Well, you'll see tables that go like this. So please be careful. So here, again, we're going to divide change in y divided by change in x. Well, how much did my y change? 225. How much did my x change? 1. 225 divided by 1? Well, that is just 225. And how do I write the equation? Y equals 225x. All right. So again, make sure that you are double checking on the calculator. So let's just double check on the calculator really quick. Stat, enter, delete what's in there. Again, this is my x right here, and this is my y right here. L1, L2. So on my L1, I have 1, enter 2, and on my L2, so again, on my x, or my L1, I have 1 and 2. And for my y, what is the y of the 1? 225. And what is the y of my 2? 450. We're going to go to stat. We need to calculate. We're going to go to number 4. Enter. All the way down. Enter. 225. There is my answer. So did I get it correct? Yes, I did. All right, guys. So I added the file to show you the steps on finding the constant or slope on the calculator. Again, if you didn't understand, please rewatch the video. Please practice. After this, you do have the guided practice for you to practice learning this. Again, this is stuff from 7th grade. I might have taught you a little bit different than your 7th grade teacher. So just to recap, for a word problem, of course, if it has the word per, that number will be your constant or your slope. For your graph, you can you can select 2 points, organize them on a table, find the change of the x, find the change of the y, and then you divide change in y divided by change in x, and then you divide those two numbers. So here it was -10, -3, divide those two numbers, you find your constant. And again, you can double check on the calculator by putting it in stat, your 12 and your 9. You see this table looks different. This is a vertical table. You put your x's on L1, you put your y's on L2. All right, on a table, there is no extra step. Just find your change in y and your change in x, and you divide. So my change in x here was 3, my change in y was 84, then I divided change in y divided by change in x, so 84 divided by 3 is 28. And then I double check again on the calculator, x is your L1, y is your L2, and then it gave me 28. So again, guys, please practice. If you have any questions, please contact us. Thank you.